What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing great tonight. Coming to you live from Los Angeles. And tonight, July the 12th, 10 p.m. Pacific time, here in Los Angeles, California, I'd like to talk to you guys about my thoughts and opinions as to whether or not Conor McGregor has put himself in a position where he's really going to have to win the next fight, because I personally thought that this time around a loss for Conor McGregor would have been it, but considering the circumstances, considering the way it ended, I'm going to come out and say that Conor got lucky, considering he was on the losing side of the fight. Dustin Porier was on top of him while he was being ground and pounded, right? So the question now is, did Conor McGregor put himself in a position where he destroyed his image, his name, and his brand? And the short answer to that question is no. At least not yet. He hasn't done it yet, but he's getting close to it. How is he getting close to it? Let me explain. So, in my opinion, there's a level of professionalism one must carry with himself. Whether and that can be in any sport, right? But there's also a certain level of hyping something up. Now, the level at which Connor went was a bit too much, because he talked bad things about Dustin Poirier's wife. He talked bad things about his family, I believe. And all in all, those are all considered red lines by many, because it's just inappropriate, it's unacceptable, and there's certain levels and restrictions one shouldn't go over. And I think this was one of those no-fly zones that Conor McGregor went over. So I feel Conor, I think, knows himself that this was a mistake, and he also knows that he shouldn't have said those things. But in the heat of the moment, what can you do? You want to keep yourself relevant in whatever positive form you can. And sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to. And Connor, saying whatever he said from the canvas when he was on the canvas after suffering the leg injury to Dustin Poirier. He said some nasty things, and obviously there was more backstage talk in which the UFC, I guess, didn't want to put on embedded. So obviously, there's a need to do things in such a way where even when you lose, that hey, you wouldn't put yourself in a position to hurt your brand, your name, and the legacy, whatever legacy you may have left. So I think Conor McGregor was close to destroying it, but I don't think he has done so yet. So he will be back, whether or not he'll be back in a win against his opponent, or he'll be back in a loss against his opponent. We're gonna have to wait and see. Dana White's favorite phrases is always, let's wait and see how things play out. So, look, guys, Conor McGregor is a billionaire, if not close to being a billionaire. He doesn't need to fight. He's doing it for his legacy, okay? It's not about money, even though it is, right? I don't want to say it's not about money, because that's not necessarily the truth. It is about money, but at this point, it's probably more about his name, his brand, his legacy, and the career that he's gonna be leaving behind more than anything, because he's already got the money, right? He's not fighting for a couple $100,000 every fight trying to make it to $1 million. He has millions. He has hundreds of millions. So for Conor McGregor, there's a little bit more on the line right now. For Conor, it's more important for him to get a win more than anything, probably, because a win right now will satisfy many. It'll satisfy the UFC especially, and it'll satisfy himself. Is it possible? Yesterday, when I created a video talking about the post-fight aftermath of Conor and Dustin 3, I mentioned that Conor McGregor's injury is the most closest to that of Chris Weidman's, because Chris Weidman's leg injury was also, a type that resulted in his leg bending, causing a massive amount of pain, I'm sure. And the situation with Conor's leg injury is the same, where his leg bent. So let's see how Chris Weidman comes back first, because again, I obviously suspect Chris Weidman coming back before Conor McGregor. So we're gonna have to see how he does. I just can't imagine Chris Weidman suffering the same exact type of leg injury he did in this in the first time that happened against Uriah Hall, because that gruesome leg injury Chris Weidman suffered was against Uriah Hall, and we haven't seen him come back. So when he does come back, we're gonna have to see how he does with that leg of his. So if he's not able to compete, or if it doesn't last long, then it's a pretty good hint that Connor's leg is also gonna be in the same state, not lasting long in the fight. So Um, Conor McGregor's the type of fighter that even today, even the things he said about Dustin, I still want to see him come back. And just as Dustin said, I wish no harm on no man. So realistically, I do want to see Conor come back. I do want to see a change in the way he talks his smack against his opponents. And sometimes, again, it's in the heat of the moment, and there's no real intent behind some of his words, but it looks like these guys are trying to do anything and everything almost to get a victory. So, let me know what you guys think, in your guys' opinion, whether or not Conor, is still in the game in terms of the Conor McGregor image, whether it's still the same to you guys. To me, obviously, Conor McGregor went through a lot of adversity to get to where he is, and many have wanted to see him win, and it hasn't been the case this last weekend. But many of those people who still want to see Conor McGregor come back and get a win still are present in terms of wanting to see him come back and get a victory, because a lot of opinions changed this past weekend after after certain things went the way it did. And in my opinion, Conor McGregor is indeed a good man. I don't think he's evil. I think he has good intentions for people around him, but I think those good intentions are, for his loved ones, and his peers and all the people he works with. But I don't think he has bad intentions for even his opponent. But he first likes to get a victory, and I can definitely understand that as a competitor. And it's cool, to lose, but it's not cool to cross a certain line and say certain things that you shouldn't. And again, it could have been in the heat of the moment, but I really hope that Conor McGregor will be more reserved mentally next time around and not say what he said. And I don't think personally that he actually damaged his image, his name, his brand, or his legacy. But there are many who do think that way, and I personally don't. And the reason why I don't think that he damaged his brand, his name, his legacy, and his career is simply because he's too big. He's liked too much, and while many will talk a lot of smack, he's also hated a lot too. And being hated also resonates your name and your brand in the future, or even in the past. But I think Conor will come back from this. I believe the UFC will find a way to protect his legacy, his brand, his name, and everything he's brought to the table for them. And I feel like I feel like Conor's gonna come back. Now, is he gonna be fighting Dustin Poirier right when he comes back? I don't know. The third fight is always going to be there. I feel like now that I think about it, Conor is definitely not going to be fighting Dustin when he comes back, considering it wasn't going his way that time as well. So, will they try to put up? Will they try to put him up against someone like, um, you know, maybe someone, maybe like an RDA? I think a fight with RDA and Conor will definitely be a good one, because RDA and Conor were talking to each other prior to the Dustin fight. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, RDA was the step up in case something happened in the Dustin and Conor McGregor fight. So RDA did make weight this past weekend, and the question of whether or not who Conor will fight next when he comes back is still lingering, of course. Many wanted to see Dustin and Conor fight a fourth time, right when Conor lost that third time, but I feel like the more time that goes forward, I feel like Conor McGregor is probably and likely going to be fighting somebody different than Dustin Poirier. And Dustin Poirier, just like Dana White said, is going to go forth and get a shot at the belt. So it looks like Dustin's getting the title shot, and Conor McGregor is going to be um, in recovery. So how will his return be? We don't know. But at this very moment, today, July the 12th, 2021, after the third fight against Dustin Poirier, I am saying that Conor McGregor is still good. I think that it's probably even better for Conor McGregor to have suffered a leg injury and said the things that he said to Dustin Poirier than Conor McGregor losing this fight fair and square. Because if Conor McGregor loses this fight fair and square, this third fight fair and square, then I actually think that the Conor McGregor name would have been further damaged, and his brand and his legacy would have been in further decline. And now, actually, that we see the way this fight ended with the Conor leg injury, I feel like people are giving him another benefit of the doubt, asking him, or I guess expecting him to come back and get a win like he did against Jose Aldo or Eddie Alvarez, because those are realistically the fights that put Conor McGregor in the spotlight to fight Floyd Mayweather. And after the Floyd boxing event, everybody knew Conor McGregor. And ever since, we've seen Conor come back and fight MMA, and he's fought legends like Donald Cerrone ever since his return, and he's fought Khabib, in which he lost, and now he's fought Dustin Poirier a second and third time, in which he also lost. But this third time wasn't a fair and square fight, so people aren't really looking at it that way. So if Conor was gonna lose this past weekend, July the 10th, what was the best way for him to have lost? I think, if anything, now that I think about it, the best way for him to have lost would have been going off on a leg injury like this. Because let me say this: if Conor McGregor lost fair and square this past weekend, I think the Conor McGregor name and the Conor McGregor brand and legacy would have been further damaged than the way it is right now. Because right now, people are still expecting a fourth fight, another Conor McGregor event in which they hope to see him win. But had he lost, I just don't think the notion of the Conor McGregor name would have been the same. So if anything, Conor gets one more chance, one more fight in regaining his clout, in terms of regaining his name, in terms of regaining his brand, in terms of regaining his legacy and everything that he's brought forth so far. Because at this very moment, Conor McGregor is in a decline, and I think that he would have actually been in a very bad situation had he lost that fight July on July 10, fair and square. And the fact that he didn't is probably a good thing for him because his name is still relevant, and that's what matters for him. So, those are my thoughts and opinions as to whether or not Conor McGregor destroyed his name, his brand, his legacy, or not. And I don't think he did. I think he's still good, and I'll leave it at that. But let me know what you guys think as to whether or not Conor's name is in a good position or not. And in addition, I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys for tuning in, watching all my videos, and staying until the end and listening to what I have to say. I really appreciate you guys for subscribing, and I'm very thankful for it. And I really do want to hear what you guys have to say in terms of what you guys think for Conor McGregor and whether or not he'll come back the way we all expect him to next time around, whether it'll be against Dustin or not. So, drop your opinions, guys. Leave those comments, like the video, subscribe, please. I really appreciate it. And up until next time, I'm going to be doing a crypto video on the Bitcoin situation and the Bitcoin price and how it's been a bit stagnant in this past couple weeks. And yeah, guys, and up until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Stay well, and I'll see you guys next time, guys. Peace.